The African Savannah, vast, endless, breathtaking. A place where golden grass stretches to the horizon, where elephants thunder in the distance, where every sunrise feels like fire painted across the sky. But don't be fooled, because under all that beauty lies danger. Predators hunt, poachers prowl, and survival. Well, survival is never guaranteed. And in the middle of this unforgiving land lived a woman, a ranger, a protector of the wild. Her name was Amara. Now, Amara wasn't the biggest. She wasn't the strongest, but she had something rare, a kind of courage that didn't need to shout, and a way of looking at animals as if somehow they could understand her. And one scorching afternoon, that gift, that courage would be tested in a way no one could have imagined. Because what Amara found that day was a rusted cage, and inside that cage was a lion who would change her life forever. Stay with me, because this story only gets more unbelievable from here. And wait until you hear what happened years later, when that same lion returned one last time to say goodbye. It was hot. The kind of heat where the air ripples above the dirt, where sweat clings to your skin before it even forms. Amara was leading a routine patrol with a group of rangers. They cut through the thorn bushes, rifles slung over shoulders, eyes scanning the horizon for movement, whether predator or poacher. That's when she heard a sound. Not a roar, not a growl, but the metallic rattle of iron. Her heart kicked. She froze, listening again. There was faint but sharp. She pushed through the thorn thicket, ignoring the branches that clawed at her uniform. And then she saw a cage, rusted, dust-covered, almost swallowed by the brush, and inside a young lion. His golden coat was dulled with grime, his ribs pressed out from hunger. One foreleg was swollen, torn raw where the bars had cut into his flesh. He tried to stand, trembling, but collapsed with a weak growl that barely carried. The rangers behind her cursed under their breath. Some raised their rifles just in case. Most kept their distance, but Amara, she stepped forward. What would you do in this situation? Walk away? Call it in? Or risk stepping closer to a wounded predator? Comment below. I really want to know. Now, back to Amara. Her pulse was racing, but her voice calm, gentle. She crouched low, sliding her water flask through the bars. The lion hesitated. Then he drank. Desperate gulps, his amber eyes dim, but locked on hers. Something passed between them in that moment. Something unspoken. And Amara made a choice. She pulled out a file. A crowbar. Her hands shook as she worked at the lock. Minutes dragged like hours. Sweat rolled down her temple. The lion's breathing rattled in the silence. Then, snap, the lock shrieked and broke. The cage door creaked open. For a single breath, Amara froze. Ready for claws. Ready for teeth. But instead, the lion only staggered. And fell. Amara dropped to her knees. Pressed cloth against his wound. Tied makeshift bandages from strips of her uniform. And she whispered, "You're safe now." That night, beneath the stars, the lion slept with his muzzle near her boot. His breath was shallow, but steady. Days turned into weeks. Amara visited every day, bringing food, water, medicine. She sat near him, speaking softly, her words steady, her tones soothing, even if he couldn't understand. And slowly, something changed. Where fear once lived, trust began to grow. When she approached, he no longer bared his teeth. Instead, he lowered his head. Words spread across the reserve. Rangers whispered about the woman and the lion, a bond no one could explain. Enemies by nature, walking side by side at dawn. And the young lion? He grew. Strength returned. His mane thickened, heavy with sunlight. His body filled out with muscle, his eyes blazing with life again. And always, always, Amara was by his side. But if you think this is just a happy friendship story, hold on, because life in the savannah has a way of testing every bond. Life didn't slow down for Amara. She fought raids against poachers, patrolled broken fences, faced storms that tore through the land like giants tearing at the earth. And through it all, the lion lingered near the reserve. Never tamed, never caged, but always close. Sometimes at dawn, villagers swore they saw them together. A woman walking along the fence line, and beside her a lion. The villagers. It became legend. A story whispered at night. The woman who spoke to lions. The lion who listened. If you're still watching right now, hit that like button, because this story is about to take a turn you won't forget. But time spares no one. Years passed. And while the lion grew stronger, more magnificent with every season, Amara's body began to falter. Illness crept in quietly. Her steps slowed. Her patrols grew shorter. But her spirit, unbroken. Even when pain weighed her down, she kept working. She still whispered to the animals, still protected the land she loved. Until one winter, she was gone. The village at the park's edge was heavy with grief. Under a canvas awning lay a simple wooden coffin. Friends, neighbors, fellow rangers gathered around. They spoke of her courage, of the lives she saved. But their words faltered, breaking under the weight of loss. And then, a sound, the heavy pad of paws on dust from beyond the hills. A shape emerged. Gasps rippled through the crowd. A full-grown lion, mane blazing like fire in the sun. Some reached for rifles. Fear rose like a wave, but others knew it was him. The lion Amara had once freed. He didn't roar. He didn't lunge. Slowly, he walked toward the coffin, every step measured, every breath deliberate. As if he knew this was holy ground. He circled once, twice, and then the lion rose onto his hind legs for a heartbeat, his massive paws pressed together over his chest, the closest thing his body could find to prayer. Then he lowered himself, pressed his great head against the earth. His mane brushed the dust at the coffin's feet. The crowd fell silent. Women wept. Children clutched their parents because they knew this wasn't instinct. This was gratitude. The lion stayed for hours, a silent guardian of her rest. And when the sun began to fall, he rose again. He gave a low rumble, not a roar, more like a farewell. And then he turned and padded back into the wilderness. In no one could explain it. Some called it instinct, others a miracle. But everyone agreed on one thing. The lion remembered. He remembered the woman who freed him, the one who bound his wound, the one who spoke as if his life mattered. And in his own way, in the circles he walked, the pressed paws, the bowed head, he answered her kindness. The villagers told their children the story of the lion who came to say goodbye. A story not of beasts, but of gratitude, proof that compassion leaves a mark no cage can erase, and that even the fiercest heart can bow in reverence. Oh, now, I have to ask you, what's your opinion on this? Was it instinct? Was it memory? Or was it something deeper, something that science can't explain? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'm dying to read what you think. And if this story touched you, don't forget to like and share this video. Because trust me, more people need to hear this. And if you know another true story like this, tell me. Who knows? I might turn your story into the next video. Until then, remember this: compassion changes everything. Even a lion never forgets.